Hey, welcome back to the Minimum Wagers Kitchen. I'm your host Gigi, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make easy baked chicken. This is such a great recipe, and let me tell you why. Super easy. Anytime you need something like rotisserie chicken or baked chicken in your recipe to complete the meal, this is great, super easy, and well, it really takes no time at all. It's from like 25 to 30 minutes. You just pop it in the oven, that's it. Stick it in the fridge. You've got about 4 or 5 days to use it up. I would say 3 to 4 just to make sure, so that way you get the full flavor still, and you can use the drippings for other recipes as well. I also use this recipe for easy chicken noodle soup. Let's see, pulled chicken recipes, and also too like chicken salad. So it's super juicy, tender, and super easy to just pull apart as well. I mean, seriously, when I eat this, I usually don't use a knife. I just use my fork because that's how juicy and tender it is. So, well, let me go ahead and show you how to make this. It's super easy. You're not going to believe it. For this recipe, once you have it all taken out and let it sit out and temp it to 165 degrees because you definitely want to make sure it's baked. You're actually going to notice in the pan there's going to be quite a bit of juices. So that's actually going to help it from not drying out. It's going to help it to stay tender and really just moist and juicy. And that way, too, it's going to be able to pull apart if you want to make like pulled chicken recipe, like quick, easy pulled chicken recipes, or like I said, chicken salad, or just as is. All right, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Super simple. So we've got about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Again, you can use any vegetable oil. You're going to put half down. Okay. Next step, we're going to go ahead and just grab a fork. And we've got our chicken thighs here. And what I'm going to do is just really try to separate them so that way they are nice and flat and on that oil. We're going to do that with all 4, and you can do 4 to 6 depending on the pan size. Today I'm just using a regular 8x8 square pan. You can use a baking pan too, which, by the way, that's what I'm using. So typically for like cake and like brownies and stuff like that, I'm in the cake section. Okay, so we've got all of our chicken pieces. I'll show you real quick here. And we still have quite a bit of oil. So now that these guys have been well oiled, we're going to go ahead and flip these over. And add the rest of our oil. And there we go. Pretty easy. Flip her one more time, just to coat them really well. Okay. And there's that. Woo! Maybe not. And there you go. Alright, so now we're just going to go ahead and add salt and pepper to taste. I like to salt it a little bit more, just because you want to bring out the flavor of chicken. And with chicken, it's one of those meats where it doesn't have as much flavor. Personally, that's what I think. So that's why I like to use chicken thighs. There's more flavor that comes out of it, a little bit of, I guess not so much gaminess, but you do get a little bit. Especially because of the dark meats as well on here. Do the same here. And notice how I went ahead and salted and didn't put anything on the top. I just want a little bit of the extra salt to kind of, once we flip that over, to be on the bottom as well. So next step, I'm going to go ahead and grab some pepper. And go ahead and pepper these guys. Okay. And same thing with the garlic powder. You can also use fresh garlic, but again, that's why it's the minimum waitress kitchen. So, and with chicken thigh specifically, I think you can get away with garlic powder, especially too if you're using this for other dishes. All right, same thing. We're gonna go ahead and resalt. And pepper. And the garlic powder. Don't go crazy. Just a little sprinkle. Okay, that's that. That's it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pop this in the oven for 425 degrees. We're gonna do about 25 to 30 minutes. Really depends on your oven, guys. So just kind of take a peek about 20 minutes in. Make sure that they're not, getting burned or anything. Also, too, get one of these guys. Super cheap. You can get this too at like the dollar store or the grocery store. Just a little basic thermometer, nothing fancy. And what we're gonna do is we'll temp it at the end, make sure it's at 165 degrees, and that's it. And then I'll show you how it really pulls apart, and it's also very delicious. So I'm excited to show you, because this is a great launch to other recipes in the future. All right, we'll see you soon when this is baked off and ready to go and cooling off. All right, you guys. So while I'm making some chicken here and it's baking off, it smells terrific. Not gonna lie here. All right, get a little sip of my coffee here, and we are gonna get rolling on making a little tomato heirloom salad. You guys, I got these fabulous looking little tomatoes over here. These are little heirloom medley cherry tomatoes that I picked over at the Trader Joe's. I can't say they were on sale, but because they were in the package this big, it's pretty big. Of course, half of it is gone because I snacked some of them. They're pretty good. For these, they're about $4.49, I want to say. So yeah, a little bit on the spendy side, but I feel like they're going to go quite a way. So you can get about, I would say, 3 to 4 little salads for this. Also, too, adding some arugula to this as well, feta cheese. The very easy balsamic we're going to be making here, a little balsamic dressing. So let me go ahead and show you. Oh, chicken! It's just happy times over there. The easiest way to do this is show you here on the camera. If you see the top right here where the stem would have been, go ahead and cut through that, especially too if you don't have the best knives and you don't have a knife sharpener available. This way you won't get kind of like that squished tomato effect. Now, if your tomatoes are squishing down pretty bad, you might want to reconsider. Those are probably a little bit old, so yeah. Go ahead and chop these up and I'll be right back, and we'll go ahead and make that little balsamic dressing here. Super easy. And then we'll get back to our chicken, which is, oh my gosh, like 10 minutes to almost done, and it is sizzling. Alright, see you in a moment. Alright, you guys, I am back. I've chopped the tomatoes here. Let me give you a quick show of this. Isn't that pretty? Look at all those fabulous fall colors in there. Yeah. Alright, so this is crazy simple. First things first, all you gotta do is a little bit of 1 part balsamic, 1 part olive oil, and just kind of give it a little mix there. We're just gonna drizzle that right on top of these nice, beautiful tomatoes. Boy, those do look delicious. And you can do a little bit of the salt to taste. Guys, salt your veggies. Seriously. That's a lot of times where people don't like their vegetables, and all of a sudden you add some salt and it makes a world of a difference. Alright, and if you like, I say pepper away. And for tomatoes like this, because they're so nice. They have that nice round flavor. Also, too, that nice sweet punch. Since they're a little heirloom tomatoes and all, that balsamic really brings out the taste. And also, too, a little bit of the fleck salt that I have right here. Just coarse salt, not fleck salt. And some pepper, ground pepper. Fantastic. Brings all those flavors out. All right. Next up, I've got about a couple minutes to go on that baked chicken. I'm going to show you how it turns out, and we're also going to take a look at how it really pulls apart. See you in a few moments. Hey guys, liking the channel so far? Liking the video? Go ahead and hit like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get more notifications when new videos come out. Woohoo! It's a win-win! Yay! Guys, the time has come. Let me go ahead and turn off this timer here and turn off the oven. And let's go ahead and get these babies out of here. Oh my goodness. Wow. That smells delish. Well, won't you look at that? Alright, let me show you here. That's what we got. Super easy baked chicken. I'm going to go ahead and plate this out. Wait a few moments, of course, so I don't burn my mouth with smithereens. But I will be back here in a few moments, and we'll go ahead and dig in. Show you how this baby pulls apart. It is so good. See you in a moment. Alright, you guys, now that we've got this chicken out of the oven, let's go ahead and take a temp here and make sure that this is at 165 degrees. Easy to temp. All you have to do is go through that part of the meat right there on the top, halfway through the meat. And that way you can take a temperature. And I am at 100 and, come on, 67 degrees. So we are good. We didn't over bake it, which is great. You know, you want to be a couple of degrees. That's no big deal. You don't have to be that precise. But you do want to make sure that it's at least 165 to 170. So that way you are not, well, you're not going to get sick. So, and you also, nobody wants raw chicken. No. All right, I'll be back here in a few moments, and we are going to go ahead and cut into this. And I'll also show you how this chicken pulls right apart. All right, you guys, so I am back. Let's go ahead and try this out. So again, easy baked chicken, super fast to make. 425 in the oven, pop that in there. 25 minutes later, boom, ready. Check it at about 20 minutes just to make sure. Every piece of chicken thigh meat is going to be a little bit different size and weight. So you just want to make sure you're not over baking it. All right, so here we go. And this baby just, boom, look at that. Oh yeah, every time. And the nice thing too is it really does pull apart, as you can see. It's wonderful. I love it. I mean, I've literally like pulled it apart just with like the fork before, just like I am right now. And then that way you can add your sauce, you can do your tacos, you can do whatever you want. So yeah, there you go. Look at that. Oven's ready. Guess what we're going to be making next? Some delicious white cheddar cornbread. You ready? I am. Oh, and I'm hungry too, so this is going to be great. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and give this a taste. Butter literally fell apart. It's lovely. But it's also not dried out. That's the other thing too. It's not dried out, got a nice flavor. You know, again, salt and pepper to taste. It's to taste as well, so. And this also too, it's a great recipe. You are using the 4 tablespoons of olive oil, but in the end result, it's not all going to be in that one piece of chicken thigh. Also too, olive oil is probably a little bit better too than using regular oil. So, you know, you can switch it up how you like. But again, great recipe starter for a lot of different things. You want to do easy chicken noodle soup, chicken salad, or any fun thing like that, or just as is, especially with tacos too though. Oh, that is good. So many things you can do. Alright guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and clean up here, get ready, and we're going to be making some cornbread. See you in a few moments. Now we're going to be making some very delicious sharp cheddar cheese, or actually white sharp cheddar cheese cornbread with roasted corn. Yum! Let's do this, shall we? Alright you guys, this recipe is also very simple. So let me go ahead and show you here. We've got our dry ingredients, and we also have our wet ingredients and our corn here. Actually, this is a dry ingredient, so we'll go ahead and move this over here. And what we're going to go ahead and do is do a 1 1/4 cup of just regular AP, well, all-purpose, just regular old all-purpose flour. So again, 1 1/4. There we go. Move this big bad boy somewhere else. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and do our 1 cup of ground cornmeal. We're going to go ahead and add our 1 1/4 tablespoons of salt. Okay, maybe not all over the counter, but you know, just saying. See, now, because my Italianness and Puerto Ricanness, all I want to do is Halloween time, you know, just in case. Alright, next up, we are going to go ahead and add some sugar here. And for our sugar, I am using a substitute of just a 1:1 ratio. We're doing a 1/4 cup right in the bowl. Also, too, we're going to do some baking powder. And for the baking powder, we are going to be doing 2 tablespoons, or pardon me, teaspoons. Teaspoons. Alright, and then of course, we're going to go ahead and do some smoky paprika as well. And for the smoky paprika, we're just doing a 1/4 teaspoon as well. Okay, and then we are going to be adding a little bit of chili powder. That's going to be a 1/2 teaspoon. Yep, there we go. So there's that for that. Get a little coffee here. And the next part we're going to go ahead and do is mix this all together. So all of our dry ingredients are going to get all nice and mixed. Mixy, mixy, mixies. This is such a nice one too for fall. I mean, this is any time year round. This is great for like, you know, any holiday, pretty much. Nice little side. You know, if you don't have bread rolls, and maybe it's entrees and other sides that, you know, should go with cornbread. There you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We are gonna start adding our dry ingredients, and I'll be back in just a few moments because I forgot to grab the cheese out of the fridge. Alright, now that I got this all together again here, got some cheese. So you're gonna want to have 6 ounces of cheese. You know, you can use pretty much any cheese, but I do like the white sharp cheddar because it does give it that nice just oomph to it, right? Gives it that nice kind of tangy sweetness as well, to accompany the roasted corn and also to the olive oil. It really ties everything together with the cornmeal as well. So I've got about 8 slices here. What I'm going to do is just kind of just break this up in little chunks, and, you know, then I'll be right back, and then we'll put this all together, pop this guy in the oven, and bake away. So yeah, see you in a moment. Alright you guys, we've got our dry ingredients all in the bowl here, so let's just go ahead and give these a mixy mix. And make sure it's well incorporated. Do a little pit in the center. Boom, bitty boom. Okay. Also too, now that we have our plethora of cheese, go ahead and put this over here before I keep snacking on it. Next step is going to be cracking our eggs, beating them, throwing them in there, throwing the rest of our liquids, and also to our corn. Cracking that last egg in here. Now that we have our eggs cracked, let's go ahead and get these guys whipped. You don't need too long, maybe about 20 seconds or so. After all, it's just 2 eggs. Done. Okay. Okay, so eggs are done. I'm going to go ahead and add the milk first. Eggs. The olive oil. And let's go ahead and give this a mix before we add that corn. Will really look like a slurry at first, I can tell you that. And just FYI, this cornbread mix that I make is a little bit more egg than most egg mixes. I'm actually also adding more cheese. It's going to make a big difference on how moist, also how it binds, and also too with the corn and the cheese. Should be pretty darn delicious. I am looking forward to this. Okay, there we go. Nice happy batter, no big lumps. And now we add our cheese. Have a little piece for me. Add our corn, not that cup. Now we're going to go ahead and mix this up. And by this point, getting all your ingredients together, and of course too, getting this all together and poured into the 2 6-inch pans. Well, you should be pretty well preheated at this point. So we got our pans here. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of olive oil just to, instead of butter, to grease this. Just a little dot. You're going to go ahead and happily just go around the whole pan and cover with olive oil. And you're going to go to the next one. With the excess that there is, now you can just go ahead and do the other pan as well. That's it. Okay, so now that we have this nice and mixed, and again, you're gonna have some chunks in here because there's corn and there is sharp white cheddar cheese. Okay. So we're gonna pour our batter into 2 of the 6-inch pans right here. We're going to go ahead and pop this in the 415-degree oven, and we're going to go ahead and let these bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. Alright guys, these are all ready to go. I've poured them into the 6-inch pans here, baking pans, and let's see what happens. Alright, let's go ahead and pop these in the oven, shall we? Okay, go ahead and wait 25-30 minutes, and I'll be back. Go ahead and pull these out of the oven and show you what they look like. Alright, so cornbread is ready. Let's go ahead and pull this out of the oven and take a look. Alright, so we made 2. I've got these guys cooling off right now. Let's turn off that oven. Boom. And let me show you the yumminess that is so springy, and also to all the chunks of cheese. Now, the pieces of cheese, quarter size, a little bit smaller in between, but really like just kind of mix it in there, make sure you have enough, and also disperse it evenly on both pans because it does settle to the bottom of that bowl when you're making that batter. So there's that. The other thing you want to do too, get a toothpick. You're gonna have cheese in here, so make sure you're gonna know. But if it comes out clean like this, you are good to go. I'm gonna let these cool down for about 10-15 minutes or so. You take a little bite here and try it out. I've had this sitting out here for about 10-15 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and grab this guy now and just loosen it up with a butter knife. And loosen it up. Okay. And it's cooled enough now that I really don't have to use a little dish rag here. So flip her over and boom. Look at that. That looks very delicious. And it smells delicious. Let's go ahead and try it out, shall we? Okay, so I've got a butter knife here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a little slice here. Oh, I hit a piece of cheese. Do another cut here. And this apparently is still pretty darn hot. But I'm excited. I'm still going to try it anyways. Probably burn my mouth. I hope not. Ooh, look at that cheese in there. Yum. See if I can show you guys. Look at that. Yummy. I'm excited. And it's got a nice, like, you got some corn in there as well. Alright, I hope I'm good. But here goes. That is really good. Wow. Super tasty, super moist. Sorry, I was enjoying it like, super moist, delicious. That corn too really helps. It gives it a little bit more of like the palate dimension. It gives it more of more texture for sure. I really like the golden crust. It's not overkill. It's not overly dry. So you still get a little bit of that crisp. Especially with the cheese. And then of course you've got the cheese that's kind of melted in between and pulling apart in between the pieces of the batter itself, the bread. So, and of course, I just, you know, I spill things. And you haven't noticed. But yeah, really digging those. There you go. This was super good. I'm so happy I made this. It's going to be delicious for dinner, and you just wait until we put everything together. Guys, let's go ahead and taste everything. So we've got our baked chicken here. That is our easy baked chicken. That is just delicious, juicy, and just, hey, pulls apart. So we'll go ahead and dig into that in just a few moments. And of course, we've got our heirloom tomato salad with simple balsamic dressing, easy to make on the fly, and hey, super delicious. And look at those fall colors. Can't wait to try it. And the cornbread I already tried because I couldn't resist. And I am so happy how it turned out. Just adding a couple of those extra ingredients and then the extra egg really makes a huge difference. And of course, we'll go ahead and try everything again. Mostly be trying this again. So freaking good. So yeah, let's go ahead and try this out. I'm going to go ahead and start with this lovely heirloom cherry tomato salad here. Mix this up since, you know, balsamic kind of went down to the bottom of the bowl here. Just a couple simple ingredients into this easy little tomato salad makes a huge difference. Really good. Nice, sweet, round flavor to it. A little bit of that zing from the balsamic. And of course with that olive oil just kind of rounding everything out. A nice little palate cleanser right there. And now we are going to be going ahead and trying our chicken. Go ahead and try some of this. Yes, I'm using a knife. Can you believe it? And I really don't need to. It's just like falling apart. Go ahead and try this. I'm gonna have another piece because one of my favorite go-to easy recipes. So easy to make, and it's like, again, fantastic too. Well, and then there was cornbread, and this smoky delicious sharp white cheddar cheese cornbread. That is really good. Pieces of the roasted corn in there, super moist, nice and springy. Also too, that golden crust, which I will show you our other one that we made. Nice golden crust that is. Super delicious. I really like the smokiness to it because of the smoked paprika. Really like the chunks of the white cheddar in there. And of course that corn really does help a lot with that moisture and the texture too. Because if you notice right here, right there, that's all melted cheese. There's like cubes in there, pieces of corn. Just wonderful. Super nice texture. Yeah, and here I am. Still can't stop eating this. Hi guys, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to hit like, and don't forget to hit the notification so you can get more notifications when new shows come out. See you on the next one. See you next time. Bye. Bye. See you next time. Hi guys, welcome back to another Minimum Wager's Kitchen. I'm Gigi, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make some really delicious banana honey almond bread. This is a great addition to any breakfast or brunch, by the way, and also to very tasty toasted. Also delicious anytime. Well, I'm excited to make this recipe for you, so let's get started, shall we? Alright you guys, so for the first thing that we want to do is preheat this oven at 350. There we go, and while that preheats, let's go ahead and go through our ingredients. For our ingredients today, we'll start out with 2 cups of just regular all-purpose flour, a half cup of just regular granulated sugar, and 2 very ripe bananas smashed. Next ingredient will be 2 eggs. And go ahead and just give those a quick whip. Next will be a half cup of just regular heavy whipping cream, a half cup of honey, 1 teaspoon of almond extract, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a half teaspoon of baking powder. Next ingredient will be a half cup of salted butter, and make sure that's softened. And for the last ingredient, that's going to be 1 cup of sliced almonds. Alright guys, so the topping is optional, and really all it is, it's a 1/4 cup of the sliced almonds and a drizzle of honey. And that's really for that whole loaf, by the way. Alright you guys, let's go ahead and put this recipe together. So for the recipe today, I'm going to go ahead and dump the sugar in here and add our softened salted butter And guys, the reason I use salted butter a lot of times, it's because that way you don't have to add that pinch of salt. It's already in there. Alright, and with a hand mixer, we're going to go ahead and fluff up our sugar and butter. And as you know me, go ahead and just crush your butter down. Start on low. That way you don't get sugar all over the place. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and cream the sugar and butter together. This will take about 2 or 3 minutes. It won't take very long. And I'll show you what it looks like in just a few moments. Alright, so butter and sugar are creamed together, so that's all nice and fluffy. So the next step is going to be adding our smashed bananas. So that was 2 bananas. And I'm going to go ahead and add our egg here. Right in there. And our cream. And now we mix again. And I'm going to go ahead and do this on low. And I really want to get that butter and sugar that's already so nicely fluffy and blended in with the rest of these ingredients. This will also give a much better consistency too for the end product for our banana bread. So go ahead and mix this too for about a minute or so, and then you should be good to go to add your other ingredients, and I'll show you here the next steps in just a moment. Alright, so all of our wet ingredients are mixed in, except for the honey and the almond extract. So there you go, that's what it should look like. And let's go ahead and put that teaspoon of almond extract in here as well. So just 1 teaspoon. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add that ½ cup of honey. The baking powder and the baking soda. And for the next ingredient, I'm going to go ahead and add just 1 cup of that AP flour, so half of the amount that's on here. And now we mix on both. This will be pretty quick, about not even a minute. And let me actually show you real quick. So just with that 1 cup of flour, there you go. And now I'm going to go ahead and add that last cup. And that cup of almonds. And make sure those are sliced almonds. And what I mean by sliced almonds, I mean shaved almonds. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and mix this for about a good 2 minutes just to make sure everything gets incorporated. It's okay if those pieces of almonds break up a little bit. We definitely want to do that so that way you get a lot of that flavor coming out of them as that bread is baking. So let's go ahead and start on low. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish mixing this, and I'll show you what the batter should look like when it's done. Be back in just a few moments. Wow, you guys. That batter smells delicious. Let me go ahead and show you here. It's quite the yield. So this is actually going to make 2 8x4 pans. So today what I'm going to do with all this batter is I am going to go ahead and make one of the loaf pans here, which is the 8x4. I picked these up at a discount store, and what they are, so they're basically pre-lined and everything. All you do is you just put your batter in here and you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and test these out and see how they come out in these little guys. And by the way, for the instructions, definitely check too, because I noticed that some of these were like, you could only bake them at certain temperatures. Thankfully, these were at 400, and our batter today, it's actually going to be baked at 350. And it'll also let you know too how long it'll take for these little guys to bake off compared to this big guy. This big guy is going to take about an hour or so. So my oven is preheated now at 350, ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and dump half of the batter into the 8x4 pan, and Of course, you see that that is lined and you're going, well, how do I do that? Well, let me show you. There's actually a very, very easy way. So all I did was I lined it up this way, and then I just doubled the amount all around, covering the whole surface here. Then next, all you do is you pop this guy right in the middle, and you grab a pair of scissors, and you can just cut right here where the end of your pans are. And that's going to be on each side right here. And I'll show you here real quick. There you go. And tape right there. So, when you put this guy in, there is no fuss in the world. Basically, it does its own thing, and just boom, you're done. And by the way, too, if you do cut on the sides right here and you're like, oh my gosh, my batter's gonna go all underneath, don't worry about that. You're actually really good to go. No big deal. All right, well, let's start pouring. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour half of the batter into our 8x4 pan. All right, so there you go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of spread this out, even it out here. And guys, also too, parchment paper. If you're buying parchment paper like at a discount store, definitely check and see how much temperature it can take, because I've run into a couple of issues before where I thought I was getting a great deal, and then I looked at the back of the packaging and I was like, oops, I'm never going to be able to use this. Alright you guys, so this one is filled with half the batter. Alright, so now that our batter is set aside here, let's go ahead and work with the rest of the batter we have available. I'll go ahead and start with 3. Let's see. Because that loaf pan is filled halfway, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing with these. Typically with like muffins and breads, I'll do like 3/4 of the way, but hey, we're having fun and experimenting. So let's see what happens. Alright you guys, so everything is poured into the 8x4 pan, and 3 of these guys. So we'll go ahead and test these out, and what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to go ahead and put these on a cookie sheet here. Whoops. On a cookie sheet without spilling it everywhere. And let's go ahead and pop these in the oven. Alright you guys, so for the banana loaf, that's going to be about an hour, and I'll go ahead and watch that. It can take about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes depending on your oven, and also too with your pan. But for the 3 little guys in there, for the smaller ones, I'm going to go ahead and watch those, and I'm going to wait about 25 minutes to check on those, and after they bake, I'll let you know how long they take. See you in just a moment. Alright you guys, it looks like this banana bread is ready to come out of the oven. So let me go ahead and turn off the oven here. And let's take a look. Ooh. Also very hot. Let me just put this down so I don't burn myself here. Alright you guys, so for the banana loaf, look at that. Isn't that nice? And it rose quite a bit, so I'm excited to see this. I'm going to say it's probably about that thick. You know, it's not super crazy. And then, I have to sniff this again. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. And then with these guys, so these actually took about 25 to 30 minutes or so to bake off. And again, with the loaf pan, that was about an hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ones in the cups. So here are the ones in the baking cup. Yeah. They came out really nice. Some chunks of banana in there. I also have the luxury of a little bit of sunshine right now, so I'm taking advantage of that for natural lighting. Look at that. So yum. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and let these cool down for about, well, at least for that guy, an hour to an hour and a half, and these guys have a little bit long to go. So, when I come back, I'll show you how to put on those toppings, and we'll get to taste them out. Alright, you guys, I'll see you in just a few moments. Alright, you guys, so while everything cools down, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get these shaved almonds here, toasted here on a little tiny pan. You don't have to have a tiny pan, by the way, just had one available. So what I did is I turned my heat up to high. I'm going to go ahead and turn it now to medium-low. Now that this pan's pretty darn hot, this is going to go pretty quick. So now these are shaved raw almonds, and what I want to do is get them a little bit toasty to put on top of our banana bread. So here we go, you guys. Let's go ahead and dump these right in. Alright, so now all I'm going to go ahead and do is just kind of move this around for a little bit here. Grab yourself a spoon. So you'll know they're starting to get toasty, and it's at the right temperature because you'll hear a slight sizzle here. And now I'm just going to let these sit here for about 10-15 seconds at a time, and then just keep stirring for a good minute. What I want to do is get these guys golden brown, and when I'm done with these, I'll show you what they look like, so that way you know, so you don't burn them. Alright, you guys, so the almonds are toasted and pretty much done here. That took about a minute, minute and a half. And I'll show you here. Nice and golden. I did go ahead and taste one here, and I'm going to go ahead and taste another one. And that way, you know they're ready. You should get that really just almondy, toasty, nutty flavor out of it. Alright, so I'm going to put these aside to let them cool for just a few moments here, and here we go, you guys. So now we have our yummy banana honey almond bread here, and our mini ones as well. I guess they would be mini, huh? Alright, you guys, now that everything is cooled down, including the big boy here, the big loaf, and the mini loaves, and our toasted almonds as well, I'm going to go ahead and start with these little guys here. So I'm going to put this loaf aside for a moment, and let's get started with our topping. Alright, super easy, you guys. So all you have to do is make sure you have like a squeezy bottle, or something that you can drizzle with, so that way it makes it a little bit easier. But all really we're going to do is barely drizzle some honey on the top, and let me show you how much. That's how much. Looks really pretty. So we'll go ahead and do that to all three here, and if you put too much, just wipe it off and start over. That's it. So let me go ahead and show you guys. That way you can kind of see here. I'm not going to lift this too much because they are going to slide right off. But that way you can see at least the honey on there. I'll lift one up here to make this a little bit easier. There you go. And for the next step, our toasted almonds here. Go ahead and just grab a pinch and just put them on top. Your almonds should really just, you know, kind of organically stick to the honey, so. And you really don't need that much. Remember, these already have a good cup of the shaved almonds as well, so. Well, you guys, these look great. So, one last tip for you for this, it's just give it a quick little pat, and just on the almond pieces, so that they stay onto the honey there. Well, these look delectable. Check that out. Yum! That looks so cute. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the big loaf. for the big loaf, the nice thing is with this parchment paper, you really should be able to just lift it right up, and there we go. Alright, so I just went ahead and put a piece of paper towel underneath because, you know, well, it does have quite a bit of butter and cream and whatnot, so I don't want to get it all over the counter. So for this one, wow, that came out nice. Ooh. And it smells heavenly. Well, I'm excited about trying these out, so I'm going to go ahead and get this topping on here, show you how, and then get everything plated up, and let's go ahead and taste everything, shall we? Alright guys, let me show you how to put the topping onto the big loaf. So what I like to do, because, well, it looks cute, go ahead and start from the corner, and there we go. Now you'll notice too, I'm not going overboard on the honey. Here's why. You can refrigerate it afterwards this way by not adding a ton of honey, and that'll help it too so it stays moist, but then it doesn't get soggy on you. Plus, don't forget too, there's a half cup of honey in that batter, so. Alright guys, so for the loaf, as you saw, I like to do the honey this way, and then I start going towards the middle first. Because I want to make sure that I'm using all of the remaining almonds, but also too, making sure I can disperse them evenly. So yes, I start from the middle first and then go ahead and get the sides. And really that amount of topping should be enough for those 2 loaves, or the 3 little loaves, and the big boy. Alright, so tip of the day for the loaf, go ahead and put the rest on the center here, and just kind of make a line. And then all you're going to do is press down. Some of the almonds will fall off. Well, that looks delectable. Alright you guys, I'm going to go ahead and plate this up, and I'll be back to go ahead and taste these with you. See you in just a moment. Alright you guys, so now that everything is nicely cooled off, we've got our toppings on here and everything, let me go ahead and show you how to cut this. You'll definitely want a serrated knife for this, by the way, so here's some options for you. You can use like a serrated bread knife, or even too, if it's long enough, a steak knife that's serrated as well. As long as you get the teeth right there, I think you're pretty much good to go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with this one here. And what I like to do with this, because you can toast this if you want to, I definitely suggest using the oven if possible when toasting this. But if you don't have the oven, accessible right there and then, or you're in a hurry, and if you don't have, like the oven accessible, or it's going to take you too long, go ahead and use your toaster. You can go ahead and toast it on low, and just make sure once it starts browning, go ahead and take it out of the toaster oven. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this about that thick here, and I'll show you. The first piece, of course, that'll be the baked end. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another slice here. And do mind, some of that topping does fall off. And what you can do is just put it right back on top. Alright, so here's the slice, guys. Yum, look at that. Oh, that smells so good. Ooh, even better. Look at all the banana pieces and all that inside. The almonds on the top, almond pieces. Oh, I can't wait to try this. Alright guys, so now that we have that sliced open, go ahead and put this aside for just a second here. And grab our minis. So for our minis, there you go, that's what it looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and cut into this one first here. Open this up. Oh. Get this guy out of here. There we go. And because this guy's smaller, I'm going to go ahead and use that steak knife. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right in half, because you know me, I'm going to show you the inside to show you how that batter baked off. Wow, that is moist, delicious, smells really good. Well, let me go ahead and cut this in 4 here. Make it a little bit easier to try, for sure. Oh, that smells so good. Wow. Alright, I am excited about trying this as well. Alright, you guys, everything is plated. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the little guy here. But I did want to show you how these came out, and look at that. Yum! They came out so yummy. Let me not knock these all over. And then, of course, that rest of the loaf there. And the other 2 minis. Alright, you guys, I'm so excited. Let's go ahead and try out the first mini banana honey almond bread. Take a little slice here. Ooh, look at that. That came out delicious. Yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and break this up and give that tender middle a taste. Oh my gosh. Wow. What I really like is that I don't taste as much of the sugar. I'm tasting more of the banana. I'm tasting definitely more of the honey. The almond, barely of the almond extract, which is really nice because I typically don't like that over flavor of like almond extract. And that cream. That cream really pops too. And the pieces of almond inside, that toasted almond at the beginning with the honey, super yummy. This batter came out absolutely just fluffy. And again, let me show you. That is some pillow fluffiness. I'm gonna have to have the rest of this little bite. So good. Wow. Well, I gotta say that this was really good. But I do want to see the texture because this is thicker. It was in the oven for a longer time. Let's see if it has the same consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece, which was the very tender middle, and don't mind me here, break it right in the center. That way I can show you what that looks like. And pretty much the same consistency. Very moist, very spongy, very pillow-like. Alright, so let's go ahead and try the tender middle of this loaf. And I am talking about this slice right here that I took off. Oh, I'm so excited. Amazing. And now, I'm going to go ahead and have that crunchy almond topping and see what that crust is like. Even better, you guys. Toastiness. Oh my goodness. The honey on top, just enough, not like overkill. And then you start biting into the actual banana bread and get all these wonderful flavors. It's fantastic. Yum! And again, it's not super sweet. You do get that honey at the beginning just because of that drizzle, but it's not overkill. So again, you guys, I really think this one is great for like brunch or breakfast, but it is really good anytime. Well, I practically ate a whole slice, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down for just a second here before I decide to eat the whole thing. And what the hell? What? It's got bananas. That's good for you, right? Well, you guys, before I continue snacking on all of this, don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can find more videos. And by the way, did you know I have more than 20 videos up now? You can totally binge watch. Yay! Well, you guys, I had an absolutely great time making this delicious banana honey almond bread for you today, and I hope you get to try out the recipe, and if you do, definitely leave me a comment. Also too, let me know what you'd like to see next. And in the meantime, I will see you on the next Minimum Wagers Kitchen. See you next Saturday. Bye. 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 Hi guys, welcome back to Minimum Wagers Kitchen. I'm Gigi, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make easy white bread on a budget. And I'm also going to be showing you how to proof, bake, and rest or loaf today. And with that too, I'm also going to be sharing the batch cost and serving cost at the end of the video. Well, you guys, let's go ahead and get started with that recipe and make some yummy dough. Let's get started. Alright, you guys, so for today's ingredients, really not a whole lot of ingredients here today. Process does take a little long, but this is a very easy recipe. So let's go ahead and get started. So today I'll be using 2 packets of fast-drying yeast, not sponsored. One thing you'll want to definitely have handy too is just a regular like meat thermometer or just a little thermometer that you can go ahead and use to temp your water. Alright, and then the next ingredient for our yeast, that's going to be 1.5 cups of water. And we want to get that to about 120 degrees, not above that, because that will start killing the yeast. And for the last ingredient, that's going to be 1 teaspoon of sugar, and that's actually going to help our yeast grow. And for the remaining of the ingredients, that's going to be 2.5 cups of just regular all-purpose flour, and a little left over so that way your dough doesn't stick. And I'll also be using 1.25 teaspoons of salt and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I really don't want to spill that. Alright, you guys, let's bloom some yeast. So first up, I've gone ahead and microwaved some water here, and I'm going to go ahead and check the temperature. So what I'm going to be using is just like a little thermometer, meat thermometer. There you go. Now we can see that. And the trick is, don't touch the sides or any part of the actual dish or whatever you're using to warm up your water, and make sure that you have as much coverage as possible for your thermometer. So now I'm just going to go ahead and check and make sure that I hit 120 or just a little below. This is going to help our yeast bloom, because after all, yeast is alive. It is a living organism. Alright, so I'm at 120 exactly. Yay! Move this over, and let's go ahead and add our sugar. So the reason I'm adding the sugar is so that way our yeast can bloom. Basically, it has something to eat. We're giving it a snack. And this yeast is going to get really fat off of that sugar, by the way. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and open the packets. Dump in your yeast. And make sure you get it all out too. The other big thing too is make sure that you check the expiration date on the back as well. And last packet. And now, no, I will not be eating this, but I will give this a quick little, just light stir here, just to give this a head start. And make sure you shake your spoon so that way you don't have a bunch of yeast sticking on there. Alright, you guys, so this is already starting to bloom. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is cover this up real quick and put this in a warm, dry space so that way it can go ahead and bloom. And I'm going to leave it alone for 10 whole minutes and come back to it. And when I do, I'll show you what it looks like. See you in just a moment. Alright, you guys, first run on the bloom here. This does not look right. So I'm going to go ahead and redo this. What I think happened is the area I left it in was not warm enough. So I'm going to go ahead and change the spot. It's a little bit cooler here today, so I've gone ahead and closed all the windows, made it just a little bit warmer here. And too, with the oven on, it's helping out quite a lot. So what I'll do is a second batch here for the yeast and show you what it should actually look like. But yes, it definitely should not look like that. Alright, I'll be back in a moment. Alright, you guys, redo on that yeast bloom. And you know what? I'm such a dork. I totally figured it out. So what I ended up doing was I accidentally grabbed the salt instead of the sugar. Wow, hello, rookie mistake. So yes, if it looks alike, make sure you give it a quick taste and then quickly wash your hands. I will be right back. Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and redo our yeast here. So for our yeast, let's go ahead and dump in our sugar, not salt. Wow. And your packets, give it a quick shake. Make sure we dump all of it in there. Our second packet. And now we'll go ahead and give this a gentle stir. Make sure you shake your spoon a little bit and get all that yeast off. Now we'll go ahead and cover this up and put this in a warm spot for about 10 minutes. Alright, you guys, I'll see you in 10 minutes. Alright, guys, success! Yay! So our yeast is now bloomed. That's what it should look like. So now you can see that that yeast ate up that sugar and just kind of got really, really fat and just bloomed. So now let's go ahead and get these dry ingredients together. So I've got the flour here and the salt, not sugar, right in the bowl. Give this a quick stir. That way we incorporate that salt into the flour. Whoops! And not all over the counter. Alright guys, so now that our flour and salt is nicely mixed, I'm going to go ahead and do a little well in the center here. Just like that. Whoops! Now I'm going to go ahead and add the bloomed yeast in here. And you can definitely scrape if there's a little bit on the side there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and start from the outside in and start incorporating that flour and salt mixture into our bloomed yeast. Basically what I want to do is get a rough dough real quick here. And for this part, definitely use a spatula, so much easier. Alright, and within not even a minute, you'll get a rough dough, just like that. And you'll notice too that it'll stop sticking on the bowl. So now the big thing is I like to work from the outside in and just fold that dough in. And you can totally use your spatula and do this in the bowl. And I like to do this for a good 2 to 3 minutes just to get that gluten going. Alright guys, so this is the part where I add half of the olive oil, so just go right across the dough there. and just keep mixing. I really like adding a little bit of olive oil to this loaf just because not only does it give it a really nice texture, but it definitely helps to add to the flavor. So, there you go. Whoops, sliding dough ball. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is push this dough ball to the side, add half of that remaining olive oil on the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and scooch over the dough. That way I cover the whole bottom with a little bit of olive oil. And now I'm going to put the rest right on top. And with my spatula, go ahead and cover the rest of that loaf with the olive oil. And that's what it should look like. Quite the slider. Alright guys, so now it's time for proofing. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this up and put it in a warm spot for a good half hour. And when I come back, you will notice this thing will grow like nobody's business. So we are looking for 2 to 3 times the size. Alright guys, I'll see you in just a few moments to show you what the dough looks like. See you in a moment. Alright you guys, so it's been 30 minutes and let's go ahead and cover this, and oh my goodness. I was not kidding when I said this was going to be about 2 to 3 times bigger than before. Look at that. It's huge. Let's go ahead and go to the next step here, and that's going to be our second proof. That's going to be for another 30 minutes. Alright you guys, so since this is all ready to go here, move that aside. Sprinkle a little bit of flour here, just about half of it, and give it a swirl. And now we're going to go ahead and dump this whole thing on our surface. Look at that. That's a lot of dough. Okay, so what I like to do is just kind of barely pat this down, add a little bit of flour on the top, the remaining that is. Okay. Make sure that the bottom isn't sticking here. So next, I'm going to go ahead and push the sides a little bit in, just like that. Very light patting, very light. And now I'm going to go ahead and start rolling this. Basically, so it looks like a giant baguette. Alright, so this is the hard part. Basically picking this up. And what I like to do is grab from the bottom, and lightly drop. And now that we have our bread in here, I'm going to go ahead and cover this up. And now I'm going to go ahead and put this in a warm spot again for another 30 minutes. I'll see you in just a few moments. See you in a moment. Alright you guys, so our dough is proofing for the second time for another 30 minutes. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is turn our oven on, and let's go ahead and put this at 375. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so I'll go ahead and let that preheat. But in the meantime, while we're proofing our bread and preheating the oven, don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is out. Yay! Alright guys, so it's been 30 minutes and I'm going to go ahead and check on our loaf here and see for our second proof. Ooh, perfect. And we definitely want it to be that high up here. Just don't want to pour the dough all over. But there you go. So now you can see that dough. It's risen almost all the way to the top. And since we've got our dough where we want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and score this real quick. So what I like to do, because not everybody has the sharpest knife to do this, is start from the center on one side and pull, and then other side and pull. There you go. Because I think that looks cool. Alright you guys, Now that our oven is preheated at 375, let's go ahead and pop this loaf in the oven. Alright you guys, so we'll bake this up for 45 minutes and then I will show you what that loaf looks like. Alright you guys, I'm excited. See you in just a moment. Alright you guys, bread is ready to come out of the oven, so let's go ahead and pop this out. Turn off our oven here, and oh, that smells wonderful. Wow, that looks great. Let me actually do one of these so I don't burn myself. And look at that. And it rose a little bit more as well, so yeah. Nice little loaf there. So now, oh. And I'm telling you, it's that olive oil and the salt. This loaf is so good and I cannot wait to slice into it and show you what it looks like and taste it as well. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Make sure I don't touch the pan there and burn myself. Now, you really get to see this loaf of bread. And now I can actually show you what this looks like. Yeah. Give this a little spin for you. Easy, happy little bread there. Alright, so the next step is going to be wrapping this up with parchment paper as much as you can. Get our towel here. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is just wrap this up with our dish towel here, or a tea towel, whichever you'd like to call it. So now we're going to go ahead and let this rest for a good 30 minutes. That way before we cut into it, we'll get a nice consistency on that crust, and we're also letting our bread rest for a few moments. Alright you guys, so I will see you in about 30 minutes. See you in a moment. Oh, and I can't wait to cut into this and try this. I love this bread, and I think you will too. So if you do try out the recipe, make sure you leave me a comment. Alright you guys, 30 minutes is up, and our bread is now nicely rested. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a look. And oh my gosh, that smells so good. I cannot wait to cut into this. Alright you guys, so I'll show you here what this bread looks like. There you go. Nice little loaf here. Ta-da! Yeah, nice and springy. I mean, lots of spring, which is awesome. Alright, and with a cutting board, let's go ahead and pop this on the cutting board here. And let's go ahead and cut into this. Alright you guys, super excited. So as you can see, with that half hour that we gave it, wrapped up in that either tea towel or dish towel, whatever you want to call it, it's got that nice spring, and the crust is no longer tough or hard. It's nice and soft and springy. Alright you guys, let's go ahead and cut into this. So I'll go ahead and cut a nice slice here in the front, first off to show you what it looks like. And of course, with a serrated knife. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like on the interior. Super springy, and oh my gosh, it smells so good. And you can see the outside portion as well, nice and soft. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is just cut a regular slice here to show you what it looks like as well. And there you go. Nice and fluffy, springy. Also too, not too dry, not too moist, just right. And that crust too, super nice. By the way, you guys, this is fantastic for French toast. Highly recommend it. Alright, and now let's go ahead and cut this right in half. Oh, came out awesome. Look at that. Oh, so springy, so yum. Alright, you guys, before I go ahead and plate and taste this, how much did this all cost? Alright, let's find out right now. Alright, so how much did this loaf of bread cost to make? Well, let me go ahead and give you the rundown. So for the whole loaf, that was $2.37, and then per slice, that's 14 cents. And that makes about 16 slices. And to compare, I also took 3 popular brands to kind of compare and see how much they cost. For the highest priced one, that was the Wheat Country White at, oh my gosh, $5.79? That's, wow. For the next one, we have our Franz white bread, and that came out to $3.99. And for the last one, which was the least expensive and popular one, was the Fred Meyer's Private Select brand white bread at $3.49. We are still beating that price. Holy moly. And plus two, I mean, this is homemade. And it smells so much better. And you'll also notice a huge difference on this white bread. It's not sweet. A lot of white breads out there, they add so much sugar. In fact, check the back of the packaging, just out of curiosity. I have to say, this makes a better sandwich, croutons, stuffing, I mean literally anything. And I have to say, hands down, I love making finger sandwiches out of this type of bread because it's so springy and because it also doesn't get all soggy and weird. I don't know, there's something about this bread. You've got to try it out. Alright, you guys, super excited about plating this up for you and tasting it, so I'll go ahead and plate this up and I'll be right back so we can taste this together. See you in a moment. I still cannot believe how much that loaf of bread costs, that $5 plus bread. Oh my gosh, what the hey? Alright guys, super excited to try this with you, and now you can take a look at it plated. So I went ahead and left that end that we didn't cut up. I went ahead and left this big chunk just so you can kind of see the middle inside here, or as I like to call it, the tender middle. And put this down here, and a couple of slices here cut. There you go. Smells so good. And then that end as well, so you can kind of see how springy the crust is, because that's important. Alright you guys, let's try this out. I'm going to go ahead and take that centerpiece, because, well, why not? Alright you guys, well, first off, you know me. So let me go ahead and break this open, and that way you can kind of see how nice and springy this inside of the bread is. There you go. So yum. And I do smell a little bit of that olive oil as well, which is really nice. Alright you guys, let's give this a taste. Texture-wise, really nice. Not too dry, not too moist, and just the right fluffiness too. Guys, the big difference with this bread is that it's not super sweet, so you really get to taste the bread. Alright guys, let's go ahead and try this crust too. That is also very important texture-wise. So, let's give that crust a taste. Yum. Mm-hmm. That is really good. In fact, I'm going to have a slice for dinner with a little bit of garlic butter for this. Unless I sit here and eat the rest of the loaf. What? It's tasty. And for my Puerto Rican family and friends, well, if you're going to have a nice, yummy piece of bread, you may as well have a little café con leche. And, oh yeah. Mmm. Oh yeah. And that's how you enjoy a little café con leche with a delicious piece of bread. And for my Italian friends and family, la molica. Well, you guys, I had a great time making this delicious, easy, white bread on a budget for you today. Oh, and what recipes would you like to see next? Make sure you leave me a comment. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next Minimum Wager's Kitchen. See you next Saturday. Bye. Why am I holding this? I gotta put this down. Walk away.